Enemy forces. The AI core is exposed. Press the attack. Excellent work, pilot.
Hi everyone and welcome to Rebellion. We've got a very special stream this evening. This is the world exclusive reveal of Battlezone's campaign. This isn't a demo slice or something you've seen before. This is the near final build of the game. We're going to be taking you through the campaign. We're going to be answering all of your questions in the chat, so please do get involved. We're also going to be answering questions on the 2 Reddit AMAs we have, which I'll give you some details on later. And of course, we'll be giving away some prizes. We've got 5 copies of the game to give away. We'll be doing that in the raffle in the chat. But before that, I just want to introduce you guys to the team from Battlezone. If you guys want to, well, introduce yourselves.
Okay. Hello, I'm Tim Jones. I'm head of creative at Rebellion. And hello, Ogre from Hell, who says, Tim!
Hi, I'm Steve Bristow. I'm the lead designer of Battlezone.
Hi, I'm Grant Stewart. I'm one of the designers and your pilot for the evening.
Awesome. Well, I'll go into detail more about how you guys can get involved on the Reddit side of things if you want. We've had an AMA up on our PSVR and our PS4. Head down there to see some of Steve's answers. We'll also be checking that here this side to get you some answers to those questions, but also do it in the chat. You'll need to follow us as well if you want to get involved in the prizes and the giveaways. But enough chat from me, I think. Let's just jump into the game. Grant, let's show us the headsets.
I'm about to suit up so you get the full joy of that. Right, here we go.
So we're jumping straight into the opening sequence of the game.
Yeah. You comfortable, Grant?
Let's get myself into prime playing position.
Are you going to be able to hear us with the headphones on there?
There we go.
We do need to be sarcastic.
Yeah.
It's important that you hear that.
It's all right, I can hear the sarcasm wherever, it's fine.
Okay. Right, so you're going normal difficulty and a long campaign.
Yeah.
What tank are you going to go for?
I was umming and ahhing about this. I think I'm going to pick my standard light tank. It's my favourite for
You like to be
manoeuvrability.
nippy and manoeuvrable.
Yeah.
So that'll be the first time a lot of people will have seen the fact that we've got 9 different tank chassis to pick from. So what kind of attributes have you got there, Grant, on that tank?
This one comes with I can show you the loadout,
show us the
actually.
loadout.
An autocannon, a machine gun, and vampire. That's a sort of quick cannon, a quick machine gun, and the ability to
Suck health.
suck health from enemies.
And those are Mark 1 autogun and machine guns. So you'll be able to get the ability to upgrade those or buy upgraded versions of various weapons as we go through the campaign, but we'll see that as we move forward.
Yeah, I can show you some of the extensive variations we have here. As you can see, I've unlocked some of them, but there's quite a lot more to go. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, right. Here we go.
So I don't know if people saw there on the campaign map, but there was a volcano at the far right-hand side of it, and that is our ultimate goal, which I doubt we'll get very close to this evening, but we'll see how far we
Bit
get.
harsh, Tim, but
Well, it's quite a long way away.
Also don't want to give it all away before launch.
Well, that's true.
Someone's asking how much inspiration was Binding of Isaac for the procedural generation.
Good question.
Variation. Yeah, that's a game that we, the dev team, love a lot, and it's certainly something that we referenced for some aspects of the structure of the game. Not in a direct way for the procedural generation, although the value that game gets out of its procedural generation is something that we certainly aspire to. But the way that the weapons are unlocked, the way that your constantly sort of expanding on a very large arsenal of things that may or may not appear in any given playthrough is definitely something that we took a pointer from Binding of Isaac for Battlezone.
If anyone has seen our previous stream, you'll maybe recognise this opening sequence, which is effectively our way of getting players used to being in VR, but I think it's been updated a little bit since the demo.
Yeah, it's not quite the same as the demo. It doesn't get quite as hectic as the demo does at the end, but it is the easing into the campaign for the player. So it's basically just a case of kill everything on this level.
Enemy detected. Get ready. Light
So
armor
Grant's zooming around there. You can probably see the green radial shields around the radar at the bottom of the screen. Those show your shields. As he boosts and zooms around the map, if he holds the left trigger, then you'll see that the shields drain down. So it's kind of a trade-off between manoeuvrability and vulnerability that you have to play with in the midst of combat.
I've had a couple of people asking about the loading screens. How does the campaign work for someone? You're not going to sit there watching massive loading screens, are you? So fairly...
No, we've put a lot of effort into keeping. I mean, there are sort of technically loading screens in that there's a transition from the cockpit and the map into the environment, but it's over so quickly that it's not worth putting a loading screen over. If
All you experience as a player is like the shutters coming down on your screen and then opening again.
Yeah, that's been a real big push from a tech point of view. It's really important to us to keep you in the world all the time in the game. So the menus all exist in the world, the campaign map exists in the same cockpit that you're already sitting in. So we don't do anything to break out of that at all. The only cutscene that we've got in the game, really, I mean, it almost doesn't quite warrant that title, is in the very first time you play it, you'll see a kind of a narrative, like a context for the game. Again, that's projected up as a screen inside the cockpit, so that you're not ever broken out of your illusion of being in a tank.
Yeah, it's very much kind of in the style of like old 80s arcade games where they do a little bit of scene setting for the world and then away you go kind of thing. So it's like, yes, the world has been overrun by the corporation and the horrible AI enemies.
Yeah.
Humanity has been driven underground, and it's up to you and your amazing tank to save the day.
Dig yourself back out of the hole.
Yes.
A couple of people have said they played the demo at Best Buy or other places. Thank you for popping in. That's been really successful for us. There's a lot of people on Reddit saying they got to try the game, and that's so important. I can't stress it enough, really. Having a go on PSVR, we know it's a lot of money people to pay for, so we absolutely understand people want to go to events and try stuff. If you're in the UK, we're going to be at EGX and we're going to be at Play Expo. If you're in Europe, we're going to be at Paris Games Week. And bear in mind, there's a PlayStation VR stand which you need appointments for. Battlezone will be there. But we've got our own stand where you just need to queue as per normal. You don't need appointments. So if you're going to any of those shows, please do come along and say hi, because quite a few of us will be there. If you're in other countries, if you head to the Battlezone website and go to the Try Battlezone page, you should be able to see a list of some of the events that we're going to be at as well in other countries. So please do head there for some information.
Is that Captain Steam is asking who did your soundtrack and will it be for sale? The guy who did our soundtrack is our in-house audio genius called Graham Gashel. He's done a fantastic job. He's got loads of inspiration from sort of new retro wave music. I've been forcing him to listen to a lot of Laserhawk and that kind of stuff. But he's got inspirations of his own and experience of his own. He's got a brilliant audio studio with a load of authentic 80s synths and stuff that he's done our soundtrack with in order to capture the era that this game stems from, but at the same time bring it up to date. And it is brilliant. And to answer your question is it going to be for sale? If I've got anything to do with it, yes, it will. Because it is in its own right a great piece of work.
So before Grant picks his next move, just maybe want to go through some of the stuff that he was doing there. You were looking at your modulators, weren't you, Grant?
So every tank comes equipped with modulators, which you can purchase and then split through these various upgrades. You can reconfigure them at any time you like if you decide that you'd rather have some other setup for the mission you're about to launch into. And what I did was I put one into the active reload.
I love the active reload.
Active reload. I was so happy when I heard that was in.
It's funny, Tom says he never plays with the active reload, he just does
Yeah.
it regularly.
Right. He does it wrong.
Yeah, that's why I never play with this one. There's an achievement for triggering the active reload, a trophy I should say, triggering the active reload, which is called War Gear as a deferential reference to the source of that concept,
Nice.
Which is originally seen in Gears of War.
Is there an achievement for hitting it 1,000 times in the sweet spot?
In a row without missing. Yeah. Not yet, no.
Well, we could put one in for you, Robbie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll call it Robbie's done it.
There's a few
He
questions
never
as
will
well
do it either.
about pre-orders. You can Battlezone will be a boxed game as well as digital. PlayStation are publishing the box game. You can already pre-order it digitally on the PlayStation Store, but only in Europe, just because that's a policy thing with PlayStation. And the box, we'll have to let you know, PlayStation will be putting pre-orders into various retailers across the globe, hopefully. So keep a lookout on the Battlezone.com pre-order page, and that should update in your region as to when and where pre-orders go live. So, but obviously keep asking us questions in the chat, and we'll let Grant do his thing.
Yeah.
There's someone's asking if there's mic communication within co-op. The PSVR headset has got a microphone built in, so it comes as standard with the PSVR, and it's crucial. We use it all the time. It works well, and it's something that we're really pleased to have as essentially a default setting for the game.
So Grant has just chosen a hex mission to move forward into. What are we doing here, Grant?
This is an attack mission, so I'm going to be assaulted by enemy forces, and I'm going to have to take them out.
This is the ice environment that a few people will have seen from the demo at the end. There's a nice little teaser, which you couldn't get to, but this is one of quite a few different environmental styles we're playing in.
There's lots of hints in all of the environments about the history and the sort of the time that the world has gone through. Lots of wrecks and iced over cities and so on. So we're hinting at a deeper world outside of the pure arcade experience here.
So Grant's shooting some enemy types that you won't have seen in the demo.
Just
there.
hit the active reload there.
Oh, we did. Spot on
Nice
as well.
job, Grant, yeah.
Yeah. So it was hitting some of the scouts that are small and nippy and vulnerable, but can cause you trouble in numbers.
Fail.
Didn't get it that time.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the kind words, guys. Lots of comments saying they love the look of the world and everything and the effort that's gone into it. So thank you. It's very kind.
Yes, we're really pleased with the sort of variety we've got into it as well. There's all sorts of cool industrial levels and sort of tech cities and so on. And I don't know how much we're talking about the final phase and the final levels, but that switches things up again in a really dramatic way.
It all gets a little bit more volcanic as you get towards the volcano. I think we can say that
really
much.
start to heat up.
Oh, that's clever.
I would
It's like a
lava
metaphor
everyone
come
to
to
tears.
life. Oh dear.
Yeah. In fact, Grant is personally responsible for the final level. So
So I'm really steaming ahead to try and get there so I can show you.
yes,
Except Robbie's not letting us show the
No,
final
Robbie's
level
not.
yet.
you can
Also, we've all got to get home.
For it.
Yeah, that's true.
We've all got to get home at some stage and
that's
sleep. Sorry to the person asked, we won't be doing any co-op at the moment. Expect to see co-op gameplay close to the end of the month or early October.
Move controllers, no. This is all played with the controller that your PS4 comes with. It doesn't require any extra peripherals apart from.
Is that still referred to as the DualShock, or has it got another?
DualShock.
Yeah.
DualShock 4.
Do you want to look down, Grant, and show everyone the DualShock?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
There they are. Look.
Haha.
Yes.
As you can see, responds to my controls, which is pretty impressive.
It's very nice they allowed us to use their design in the game.
I just
Yeah.
realised this game is the Resogun of PS4. I will take that as the very highest of praise.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Oh, what's that building, Grant, then?
This is a radar relay, which I'm going to convert, and it's going to reveal where all the enemies are on this map. And also,
You should probably turn towards it so we can see what you're doing.
it's revealed a small white arrow.
Turned it blue.
I have turned it blue. I've converted it to the Allied forces.
Awesome.
And I'm now going to steam off over here towards that little white arrow. so that I can convert another support building, which will have effects on the campaign.
Which we don't know what it is yet, because this is all procedurally generated and randomized stuff. So, okay, so that's a data store. So that will give Grant, when he's converted it, a chunk of cash. Our resource that you gather in the game is called data. It's money, essentially. So he'll get a chunk of that, which will give him a big bonus when he gets to the supply points or to buy new modulators for his combat upgrades.
And he gets that data as he's damaging and destroying enemies, and you'll see like little sort of blue cubes and other coloured shapes dropped from the enemies, which you can hoover up either by running straight over them, or if you upgrade your magnet ability to suck them straight into you. And that is your main resource for upgrading as you go through the game.
50 Blows asking how long will the stream be. He or she is thinking about staying at work until it's over.
Oh, nice. We'll probably finish up around 8 o'clock UK time, so it would have been an hour from start to finish, something like that.
Sure, stay at work.
Yeah, please do.
And somebody else wants us to do finger guns. No problem.
Sorry, I got very excited.
If any were the biggest challenges in working with the PSVR? I think this is a question that came up on the Reddit thing. To me, the biggest challenge was realising that I didn't know what on earth I was doing when we started out. And I've been making games for a long time, and you start with certain preconceptions. You've got a kind of a playbook to get you started on any new design. Problems that other people have solved in the past, either solved them badly or well, to sort of guide you along the way. And PSVR presents completely new challenges. And probably the most significant one was understanding how to exploit it, as to the extent that we've done, to be ambitious enough to actually use it, so that the experience you're getting is something that you cannot get in a standard flat game. And that's informed every design decision we've made. The scale of the environments. If you're looking at this as you are on a flat screen, you're not feeling what I know Grant is feeling as he's zooming around in this enormous landscape. I know it looks cool and all the rest of it, but when you're actually driving past these like monolithic buildings, these like huge structures, the feeling of actually being tiny in this environment that's looming over you is really powerful. And that's something that we just couldn't have predicted until we started playing with the game, experimenting with it, pushing the boundaries that we initially assumed we would set for the game.
But then even in co-op, the fact you can look to your left and you know that your friends are there, just by instinctively looking to the left, or even catching your peripheral vision, you understand that actually your teammate is to the left of you. It's something you can't get on a 2D screen.
No, that's right. It's oddly comforting, isn't it? To sort of think, oh, good, this guy's.
But on a sort of a slightly smaller scale as well, it's like things like the radar, which would normally have to be like anchored onto your screen somewhere, taking up screen space. It's now like on the dashboard. You can just glance straight down at the other screens that have got peripheral information that you can look towards. It's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time we do our first giveaway, because we're sort of 18, 20 minutes in. So what happens is you'll need to follow the channel first. So I'll give you 20 seconds, 30 seconds to do that. So please do give us a follow. And then I will give you a word. You just need to put a hashtag in front of it, type the word, and then it'll automatically enter you in a raffle, nice and fair. No bots can get involved. And the winner will contact them directly, and you'll get a copy of the game, either digitally or box. We can't tell you yet. We'll find out when we get them, when the game launches. Alrighty, so first one, we shall say it's a tradition on the stream here for anyone who hasn't watched this regularly. Tim gets the blame for everything in general, so the first one I want is hashtag blame Tim, please. Type that in for your chance to win a copy of the game.
Yeah, I'll take that. It's fine.
No further ado. I mean, it's become sort of part and parcel of the streams now.
People will associate it with nice things like prizes, so that's good, right?
That's true. Yeah, it's all good.
Someone was asking about there being a colourblind mode. Not per se, but I'm sure you won't mind me saying, but Grant here is actually colourblind. And as you can see, is playing the game at least moderately well.
Not dead yet.
So it's actually been really helpful to just to run checks for that. I know it doesn't cover every single spectrum of colour blindness, but it is something that we were conscious of in the design of the HUD in particular, and the enemies. We've got lots of high contrast in the environments, which is partly to assist with some degrees of visual impairment, but also just because it works better in VR. It's
I think another thing to note is that you get an advantage where things might be lost against each other for a colourblind person on a regular screen, whereas in VR, because you've got the sense of depth as well, that naturally helps you separate things and sort of really sense where they are in the world, whether they're in front or behind. So yeah, it works quite well.
Was there something you wish you could have put in the game that you couldn't, either because of time, hardware limitations, or something else?
Always.
Of course, thousands of things. Yeah.
Cats, dogs, Rocket League.
Yeah.
One of the early prototypes we had, or one of the early versions of the game. In fact, I think it was even in the 2015 E3 demo. Had a jump where you could sort of boost upwards. Now, I ended up taking that out for two reasons. One, it was making a higher percentage of people feel uncomfortable than I was happy with. But two, it also disrupted some of the blocking that the environment has to do to create structures. You can jump over walls and so on, and it ended up becoming a bit of an albatross. But I think, maybe not as a release title, but I think a game that uses jumping, maybe something like Rigs, but something with more of a platform component. Say, for example, I don't know if anyone remembers Jumping Flash on the PS1, but I honestly think, perhaps for a relatively small number of people, there's a brilliant game there to be had, as Jumping Flash in VR. And quite rightly, I took that out of Battlezone in the end, but it's still there in my head.
Right, so I saw Grant there dropped a probe to open up the hexes. A lot of them are hidden, you don't know what you're going into. So
sort of a fog of war, if you like.
Yeah, so what was your decision-making process here, Grant? What are you going to pick as the next mission?
I'm trying to work my way across to the volcano over here for the confrontation, but you want to take out these shield generators denoted by these little columns of light as you go across, because it makes the final confrontation easier.
Each of which corresponds to one of the yellow columns of light around the volcano, so you can see as you take them down how many you've taken down on the volcano. Yes.
So I'm trying to pick an optimal path that will take me through all of them if possible. So I want to go up here. I'll just ping one of these for you. That's one of our little co-op mechanics here. You can ping a hex to indicate that you want to go there and tell your team we should be going over here, do that, up there, etc.
So we have a winner of the first prize. Congratulations at Zantiriad, I think that is, with an X. Congratulations. First winner. We've got another 4 to give away, and we'll be doing that evenly throughout the stream, so please do hang around if you would like a copy. Worth noting, obviously, it's for PlayStation 4, and you need a copy of, you need a PlayStation VR headset to play it, but whether you get that now or later down the line is up to you.
Was that the jumping in previous EGX versions? Yeah, there was a demo that did the rounds in 2015 that had that jumping in it.
Yeah, it was the one that was sort of if you played it, it was daylight, kind of a sunset kind of thing, rather than the darker, more Tech City. Well, they were both Tech City, but one was lighter. That was the earlier one. Yeah, I like the jumping, but yeah, as a lot of people did. But it's ultimately it didn't really feel very tanky either.
What mission did you pick in the end, Grant?
I went through one of the events, which is one of our sort of tactical analysis situations, and while I was there I acquired a passcode that I'm going to be able to use hopefully later in another event further on. And now I've picked another sort of straightforward attack mission, but as you can see I'm in a totally different environment, so this could play out rather differently.
Also, Miss Molotov asks, is it bad that the map reminds me of Blockbusters?
There's nothing bad about that at all.
No, it absolutely isn't bad.
You cannot help but see hex grids and think of Blockbusters if you're of a certain generation from the UK.
Just in case anyone wants that stuck in their head for the rest of the day.
There must have been a US version as well.
Probably.
So if you die, do you lose all your upgrades? If you lose all of your lives, you have to restart the campaign, which will then regenerate and be a different campaign. And you start every campaign with one of the default tanks, of which there are eventually, when you've unlocked them all, 9. And they have different loadouts by default, but they all have the Mark 1 weapons by default. What the upgrades, what the unlocks do is, and what Grant's doing now comes into this, he's converting one of the weapon factories. when he's converted that, a new blueprint will be released. So one of those greyed out boxes in the arsenal we were looking at earlier will now be unlocked. I don't know which one, and you won't until you get to the end of the mission. What that means is when you get to a supply point where you get the opportunity to change your weapons, the set of things that could exist in that supply point has just gone up by one. So when you've completely unlocked all of the arsenal, which will take many playthroughs of the campaign, in fact I think Grant may be the only living person who's actually done that. At that point then, whenever you go to a supply point, the range of things that may exist in that supply point for you to swap out with your weapons is at its maximum. But that doesn't necessarily mean you will always be offered the best. Sometimes it varies depending on your progress through the campaign. And whether or not you can afford it depends on how well you've been doing up until that point. So this is one of the elements where we're using a roguelike structure to create that kind of replayability and depth. And you may detect things in common with games like FTL in a structure like that.
I can't
Gun
remember.
compatibility.
Oh,
Someone wants to know about gun compatibility.
Oh,
No.
nothing at the moment,
No,
no,
not
because
at
it's very much the idea that you are in you're in a cockpit and you're not using any of the peripherals other than the control that's in the tank.
But on a more positive note, someone asks, is sound from ordinary headphones in 3D too? And yes, it is. We use binaural audio in this. We use some clever processing in the game to accurately model how sounds appear to your brain depending on where they are around you. So it's not just regular stereo. It's it just really feels 3D. So as like missiles zip by you and explosions happen around you and behind you, you can really sense that really accurately. And yes, that works with regular headphones, which is really cool. And it's a big addition and a big part of the VR experience, which right at the moment Grant is not fully experiencing because one of his headphones is off his ear, so he can hear us talking about him.
Uni-oral rather than bi-oral at this point.
Uni-oral.
So I was thinking we might get Rob to show some of the footage from other footage that we've got of the game. Give Grant a bit of a break, and then we maybe swap someone else in.
Sure.
Potentially. Also answer some questions. I don't know if Rob would be able to do it, whether he'd be able to bring up a couple of the Reddit threads on our screen over here. Should be super useful. Sorry, Robert, didn't get it off my iPad in time. If you head to the Reddit AMAs we've got, there's one on the RPSVR and RPS4 Reddits. There's a lot of questions on there, and there'll be quite a few new questions in there too, which we'll probably need to answer. Steve and I were on there for 2 hours beforehand, so we'll go through some of those. We'll give away another key. Rob will put up some gameplay as well, and we'll do some Q&As from the stream as well, from the chat. So let's see what's going on. So if any of you hasn't seen this, it's worth checking out on YouTube a bit later. On our Rebellion YouTube channel, we've got the new Battlezone 101 trailer. That's 7 minutes of new gameplay footage that will sort of go through a lot of the elements we're going through at the moment today, but in quite a nice little package, something to share with your friends. Please do check it out and give us a follow or subscribe on YouTube as well. That'd be really good. But yeah, let's look at some of the questions that are up on Reddit. Awesome. Alrighty.
Can the guys at home see this, or this is just us?
No, that's just us, I think.
Okay.
I had quite a few questions about PvP and things. This is very much a campaign-focused game at the moment. We're not really talking about any future plans. I mean, I'm sure it was Steve's design from the beginning in terms of wanting a co-op arcade experience. So in terms of PvP, certainly nothing to announce at the moment. The campaign is what you're going to be getting in the game at launch.
Yeah, absolutely. And cooperative play is, it's something that we found is always inherently fun, and it's nice to bring people together and work as a fire team. It's a good fit for Battlezone, certainly.
Had a few questions about PlayStation Pro as well. Naturally, we were all tuned in to the announcement. We knew, obviously, that the console was coming. but it's not even in the market yet. All PSVR games, and this is worth pointing out, all PSVR games work on the regular PlayStation 4. Battlezone was always designed for the regular PlayStation 4, so when the PS4 Pro does come out, you're not going to be getting, the players on PS4 aren't going to be getting some kind of inferior version. The game has to run like steadily and rock solid to be comfortable on a regular PlayStation 4, so it's certainly not essential to get a PS4
absolutely.
Pro.
I mean, we've designed Battlezone from the ground up to be like exactly what it's supposed to be on PlayStation 4. It runs a rock solid, like smooth frame rate throughout.
And of course, this is the version that Grant's playing at the moment. And as you can see, it's more than capable piece of hardware.
Someone's mentioned they saw the Nemesis tank in the trailer, and they're asking, is that the final boss, Steve?
No, but it's a
Just fly in the ointment.
yeah,
Is what it is.
it's a pain in the ass. The Nemesis is another thing, and like actually going back to the Blockbusters reference. I mean, because that was obviously a big inspiration for making the game. There's a component of that campaign map which has sort of got some design elements of board game in the way that you move across it and kind of decisions you're making as you traverse it. And the Nemesis is essentially part of that. You may notice when Grant's next on the campaign map, there's a bar that goes across the top, which in board game terms is called the Doom bar. We refer to it as the enemy power bar. And every time you finish a mission or you go through an event, that goes up a little bit. And every time it crosses a threshold, the difficulty of the enemies that you're going to face in each of the missions goes up. The rank of the enemies that you're confronted goes up. They become tougher, more dangerous opponents. And every 3 times you go up through those thresholds, a Nemesis is created somewhere on the map at random with one of a set of behaviours. So they might come tearing straight for you, they might guard one of the shields, they may hover around the final level. And if you're smart about the way you go across the campaign map, your decisions will allow you to avoid them. Because if you're not, and you end up confronting it in a mission, it is a deadly opponent, and if you're not prepared for it, it's a real problem to get past. It's a very difficult tank to fight against. It's got very powerful weapons. It's very intimidating. But worst of all, really, it casts this radius around it, which sort of supercharges all of the enemies around it. So everything in its proximity becomes nasty, and so you can deal with it if you're properly prepared, if you've been playing well up until that point, and you've been to the supply points and upgraded your weapons, or if you're just really good at the game and you can. But it's essentially a new threat. Behind all of that is the fact that you could, if you wanted to, just charge straight for the final level as you go across the campaign map, taking the minimum number of missions to get there. That's perfectly okay. But when you get there, the final confrontation will be extremely tough. So what you really want to do is go around and take on the shield missions and try to harvest as much data from the missions as you can. The problem that poses is that it raises the threat of the Nemesis being created. So all of that combined means that every step that you take on the campaign matters and has powerful ramifications for how you progress and how likely you are to get through to the end of the campaign. And it adds this kind of strategic component. The Nemesis is part of this strategic component to the campaign map that adds a great deal of depth and replayability on top of, and support, and sits on top of the procedure.
I think that can be our next prize keyword. So if you want to win a copy of Battlezone on PlayStation VR, enter our raffle now. Make sure you're following the channel if you weren't already, and if you type in the word #Nemesis, you'll be entered automatically into our raffle to win. So please, start doing that now. You only need to do it once as well, by the way. #Nemesis.
It also puts me in mind of another sort of relatively obscure 80s game show reference, which I don't know if Robbie remembers, but
Showing
I'm sure
your
Steve
age.
does. But
Too
you
young,
remember
man, too
the
young.
adventure game and the vortex.
Yes.
It's very much the same kind of thing. It's like you did not want to step on the node of the vortex.
If I said Gordon, that'd be the nerdiest thing ever to be broadcast over Twitter.
That probably is. My favourite thing was the Aspidistra.
Yeah.
So there's an audience out there going, what the hell are they talking about? But hey, it's our show.
So, really interesting question on the AMA. What was the sort of decision behind having stylized visuals rather than something more realistic?
Well, the original game was obviously a product of the technology of its time. It sort of invoked for us then a way of visualizing what virtual worlds would look like in the future. And it was important to us to maintain that sense of it being artificial and computer generated, rather than going, well, we can make everything realistic looking and do a realistic, sci-fi tank game. That just didn't feel right to us. I think it felt right to be a genuine homage to the original game, but using the technology we've got now to do our own version of like what a future computer world might look like as envisioned in the 80s with technology they didn't have then but we have now to play with. That's probably convolutedly and poorly explained, but it just felt like a fun and correct thing to do.
It gives us some sorts of technical advantages as well.
True.
It's one of the things that helps us to maintain the frame rate that's absolutely crucial to this experience. But also, and this is, I would say this is something that we discovered rather than determined upon. The aesthetics drove this, but we found that, particularly when playing in VR at these high speeds that you're playing in, these really clear, bold images that the enemy tanks present and the structures present, the high contrast that I was talking about earlier, really actually helps the gameplay as well. You're not losing stuff in the background. There's not any ambiguity about how far away things are. You can understand the size, the direction of the silhouettes of the tanks from a long distance, and that really matters.
If it's an angry red, fiery-looking thing, you probably should shoot at it. Or avoid it.
We have a winner. I think the Gobleth 19 might be the one who's going to be running around shooting things. So, congratulations! Thank you for entering. Thank you as well for the kind comments about the footage, and people are saying they're thinking of pre-ordering. That's awesome to hear. Thank you. It's kind of nerve-wracking for us because PSVR isn't even out yet, and we just don't know how people are reacting. We know pre-orders are going down well for PlayStation VR and everything.
We know people have been enjoying the demos.
Yes, definitely.
I don't see any reason why there can't be anything more than having more fun with the full game, because there's so much more to it than what's in the demo.
Okay, we'll do a couple more and then we'll head back to see what Grant's up to.
Yeah.
He's been exploding a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's been taking out a shield generator.
Are you wanting to swap in at all?
If someone else wants to take over, but I'm having a lovely time in here.
Well, I'd be happy to take over for a little bit.
Let's get some young blood on the sofa.
Yeah, he's prettier than I am.
Some young blood.
While they're swapping over, let's have a look at another couple of questions on the Reddit AMA. Someone's asking actually, Steve, do you go back and play the games that you design?
Not all of them, but this is one of them. Yeah. It's. I was saying this to somebody the other day. Actually, it's not uncommon for developers to get heartily sick of their games. By the time you've been working on it for a couple of years, you've exhausted all the gameplay you worked so hard to put into it. And but I've got to say, I still get excited. I still get excited about playing a game of Battlezone at the moment. Single player and co-op in particular, I'd say, because of it works really, really well as a co-op game. We argue with each other, we sort of disagree about what we should be doing.
Even which hex to pick, I suppose.
Exactly, you come down to that kind of stuff. It doesn't, it doesn't come across very clearly on looking at it on 2D, but the decision about which hex to move on to next, when you've got 4 people all with different ideas about where you should be going, there's a reason that we put that marker thing in, so that you can basically spam it and say, no, go there. And the headset allows you to talk to each other, which really supports that well.
Could you bring back up the gameplay, Rob, please? I think Tim's about to set off.
I'm about to head into a supply point actually and go on a shopping spree with all the credits that.
With all the credits that I earned, my hard-earned credits, Tim.
Well, it's teamwork.
I'll take this opportunity to describe what's going in the supply point. If I can we sort of like scale that up a little bit, Rob? So I can.
I had a couple of people asking about, is there going to be a non-VR version? Not at the moment. We've certainly looked into it, but we've been concentrating on this. It was always conceived as a VR game, or at least I'm sure Steve would tell you that. I was involved at the beginning of it, but so that's something we may have to retrofit into it.
Sorry to interrupt, Rob.
Yeah.
Somebody's just asked how Grant gets his hair looking so snazzy.
That's a new one. That is a new one for this stream.
And
Thank you very much.
I've got to know the answer to that myself. So, Grant, how do you get your hair looking so snazzy?
It's unfortunately just luck and genetics.
God damn it. Yeah.
Grant is actually 50. You wouldn't know, but.
So, right, Tim is in a supply point right now.
Yeah.
So, over on the left, he's got, you can see his current loadout. That's the stuff his tank is
I have
currently
just
equipped with.
bought these laser-guided missiles
Yep.
Mark III.
So this is a procedurally generated supply point. So, what you're seeing there is some of the stuff that's unlocked in the arsenal selected for this point in the progress through the campaign from at random from a predetermined set, essentially. Now, whether or not you can afford to buy all that sort of stuff, like I say, depends on how well you've done the data gathering stuff up until now. But he's added laser guided missiles to his loadout, which are powerful homing rockets which home in on whatever you're pointing your crosshair at
And
after
I'm
you
just
fire.
about to sell my multi-lock on Mark I.
Bold,
Yeah, I know. But I'm also going to sell my Vampire.
even bolder.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Is this foolish? Because
well,
Depends
that
what
remains
he's
to be
planning
seen.
to do.
I would like an EMP.
Thank you, Silverbot Alpha. He just said, I played Battlezone when I was 11. You've made a 46-year-old man very happy.
Yes.
Right.
Well, yeah, good. That's great to hear. Yes.
I'm ready to go, I think. So, right.
See Zupper, other games, PSVR games we're looking forward to. I'm personally really looking forward to VR Worlds just because I've always had a thing about sharks. I've always wanted to go in a shark cage. I had a failed attempt where I couldn't book one when I was on holiday in South Africa, and I really want to do the sort of the deep demo where there's a shark underwater and you've got to fight it off with flares. Wesounds awesome. It's the kind of thing you just wouldn't work so well in 2D, being somewhere. And there's that demo on the Vive where you see the whale come past you, which was awesome. We were standing in our meeting room behind us there, and feeling like I was in a meeting room with a whale was very interesting, it has to be said. What about you guys? Anything you're looking forward to?
Pretty big, imposing things when
Yeah.
they're in VR. It's hard to, you just can't get it across unless you've actually tried it. I tried the Heist.
Oh, yes, yeah, tried that
Cambridge
too.
Studios Sony thing. It was one of the new demos where you're in like a van and you're having a shootout as you go down a highway, and that was great. Like the fun of having a gun in one hand that you have to reload and you're rootling around in the van trying to get ammunition to ram into it to shoot the next guy that's wonderful. I'm really looking forward to that.
I think it's got to be rigs for me. I got to play rigs at EGX Resd, and then again at E3 2016, and I think they've really got something there. I think it's a really fun game. It's really dynamic. It really pushes VR. It's very ambitious with what it tries to do with VR, and it's
Being rocketed out just to start the match is an awesome idea.
I mean, if like me, you're really looking for that kind of roller coaster experience, and that feeling that you can't get from a flat screen, then Riggs does that almost as well as Battlezone.
Contentious.
It's all good. Fellow PlayStation title, of course, now. So.
I'm sure they're looking forward to playing Battlezone 2. They must be.
Yeah.
Tim's using his laser-guided missiles there.
I love the laser-guided missiles.
Quite a few people talking about the soundtrack. Something I haven't mentioned actually is that on the PlayStation blog, both the US and the EU blog, there's a whole week's worth of content about Battlezone. Today was the 101 trailer. Yesterday was a really cool blog about Graham's soundtrack, and it's got some clips as well from the trailers and from the actual game, some sound effects and bespoke tracks that were put together for some trailers. So do give those blogs a read because they're really interesting. Steve talks about the design. I've done one on sort of all the many features that you see in the trailer, and then the audio one's probably a highlight, I think. It's got some nice photos of Graham's retro kit that he's used to make all the sounds with, which is really cool. So definitely check that out. So what are you up to, Tim? What's going on?
I am trying to defend the base here. I've just EMP'd this heavy tank so I can keep it still and inactive while I pummel it with my laser-guided missiles. And that all worked out rather successfully.
Oh, you don't say so yourself.
Yeah, job done.
The base is taking laser fire though. It's got laser light tanks.
Sam, we've actually confirmed that the game's coming to Oculus Rift, but as I said, that's a VR version. We haven't got anything to confirm yet about a non-VR version. We're still looking into that. So yes, it will be coming at some stage after launch. But the guys have been concentrating on getting it out for the PlayStation VR launch first.
Someone wants to know, Deltamon wants to know how big the team is. We started with a very small team, just like an experimental few of us. I think the core dev team probably got up to about 15, 20 people.
Something like
Yeah, more or less.
But also the way Rebellion works is we have like groups of specialists that can move between projects. So the tech team and the GUI team are directly part of Battlezone, but we lean on them to do.
And the marketing
some of the
team.
work. And the marketing team. Of course. Yes, yeah, absolutely crucial. Someone's grandma can't wait to play it. Well, I hope someone's grandma enjoys it very much.
Look forward to playing multiplayer with her. And, yeah, great.
Yeah. How can Tim keep his head so straight while playing?
Don't know.
He's.
Well,
What was that?
How can you keep your
Nothing.
head so straight while playing? Just demonstrate that your head is actually articulated for us.
What do you mean? Like, should I be doing that more?
Yeah, there you go.
probably not so good for viewers at home.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah.
What's our relationship been like with Sony? Are they doing a good job at supporting VR devs? Yes. Yeah, brilliant actually. Right from the get-go, they've been really enthusiastic about bringing devs on board, communicating what they've learned in their research about VR. And they've done that in lots of different ways. They did a couple of big presentation days where we went to their offices, and one where we went down to the Film Academy or something. Where was it? The BAFTA building. Yep. Fantastic setups and an enormous amount of really useful information from them. And then they've actually helped us out directly. We've had support from their coders as well. But that's what's been really great about that is it's worked both ways. So the lessons that we've learned ourselves as we've been developing it have been fed back to them, and they've been very open in that kind of communication. They understand, obviously, that the better we do our jobs, the better their stuff goes as well. So, they are very keen to get like a crop of really good, solid, high-quality games out, and they've been extremely useful in that respect.
And the other thing is getting it just basics like having the equipment. We need so many PSVR headsets so that people can test them, so that our marketing team can go take stuff to meet press, to go to E3. And when we ask, we get. It's been very, they realise, like they did at the beginning of the PS4 era, that supporting developers would help their platform, and I think that's definitely been the case.
And that's across the generations as well. I mean, compared to the very early dev kits that we had for PSVR, the retail kit is markedly better in lots of ways. And for every new iteration of the hardware that they've done, they've resupplied us with all these headsets. And there's really, they've really been brilliant, actually.
We all get a bit jealous whenever new headsets come into the office. We're all fighting over the new one. I want that one, come on.
All right, probably time we do another prize. So I feel like something to do with Tim's extended neck might be a good theme for this one. So I think for the next prize, make sure you're following if you weren't already, and put in the words into chat, #Tim's neck. No apostrophe needed.
Seriously?
So I'm running out of inspiration. So someone typed in Dat Adam's apple, which I thought was yeah, all you have to do is type that in once, guys. He's a regular, he can take it, it's fine.
Oh, that is look at all those
It's
Tim's
filling
there.
up.
There's a lot of Tim's
I feel like this could take over for Blame Tim.
Wow.
Oh.
Neck model.
Where is Tim's neck? Yes.
Indeed.
How did that start? How did we end up talking about Tim's neck?
You were asked a question about
So I was
how he
saying he's
managed
kept
to
his
keep
head
his
very
head
still.
so still.
The funny
Oh, I
thing
see.
is, like, when you watch gamers play PSVR, the ones who are more experienced, more experienced gamers, they don't tend to move their head in VR because they sort of understand how they do it. It's like, it's like your friends when they play Mario Kart and they move around like this. That's what happens when new people try VR. And actually, you want to teach gamers to look around and actually use their environment in VR because you're kind of almost missing out.
Yeah. Thanks, Jimmy Valls, for that comment, by the way.
Which one is he?
Grant's Hair DLC.
Captain Steve wanted to know about the second screen thing, like the social screen, as Sony refers to it. Not yet for Battlezone. The concept of having a game which shows something different on the TV to the thing that the player's experiencing in the headset is fascinating. I would really love to explore that from a design point of view. Being able to sit next to somebody on a sofa and essentially play the same game from two different perspectives. We've got huge potential. And
EMP.
It's a feature that came into PSVR a bit late for us to exploit it for Battlezone. But if, and as I hope will be the case, we continue to develop VR stuff in the future at Rebellion, that is definitely a feature I'll be pushing to make use of.
I'm analysing Tim's play very
Yeah,
carefully
we're all looking
here.
down
I'm trying to
at
work out
the
whether he's
screen.
doing better
I
than
wonder if everyone in the stream is going, why are they all looking at their feet? It's because we've got a really nice screen watching what Tim's doing. 'Cause obviously, he doesn't need to look at the screen.
Uh-oh. So we also need Grant's Hair DLC. That's another thing that's come up. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't confirm that yet. Not yet. Possibly. You hear about it on a live stream, I promise.
I hope I hear about it.
Yeah, exactly. Second screen could be like Spotter or Navigator, yeah. Or even the bad guy. The second screen could be somebody playing like an RTS game, dropping like defensive units into the map.
Like Fable Legends, you mean?
Yes.
Well, and like sort of the heritage of Battlezone as well, with its sort of tactical stuff from
the
90s remix.
98, that's true.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Papa Man Beer. You have won a copy of Battlezone, and we shall be in touch. We got 3 out of 5, is that, I think, Rob, we're giving away? We've got 10-15 minutes to go, so we've got another 2. So hang around for the end, and I'm sure we'll give a couple more. We'll have to. I'll let those 2 come up potentially with some hashtags.
You didn't tell me we'd have to invent hashtags.
Yeah, I know. Well, you should see it when Rob and I have done other streams where we had to come up with trivia questions on the spot, and it's the sort of the numbers of the watchers have just dropped off while we sit there going,
Can we have Grant's Hair as our next hashtag?
It'd be quite nice to know in the chat actually how many of you feel like you're going to get PSVR at launch, and how many of you think maybe in the first year, and how many of you are just gonna maybe wait it out, see more games. It'd be really interesting to see if you guys could reply in the chat just off the top of your heads. It'd just be something I've never really asked before.
Like day one or wait.
Yeah, day one or wait. That sounds good. Yeah. Launch.
Already pre-ordered. Launch me. Pre-ordered. Already pre-ordered.
Amazing.
Launch.
This is awesome.
That bodes quite well.
Thank you. That bodes really well. It's amazing to have people who've already pre-ordered coming in to see what they're going to get, which is great. So thank you for trusting us with your pre-order. It's going to be awesome. Less than a month now to go.
So excited.
It's awesome. So we've clearly got the PSVR sort of day one crowd here, which is nice to know.
Maybe everyone's the PSVR.
Maybe.
Maybe. Sony tried it EGX Resd. Cool. Yeah. I might have even been there.
Yeah, and we'll be at EGX as well. The next one, the NEC, and we were at Insomnia. If anyone's at Insomnia and met us, please do say hi, because that was a really good fun show. And let us know what you thought of the stand, because we spent some money on it. It's nice to know that it looks good.
Are either of you two going to be at EGX?
Yes, I will be. Tim, Steve possibly, depending on travel arrangements for stuff.
Oh yeah.
For previews and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be there. We're also going to be doing a live stream quite similar to this one on stage show at EGX, which is going to be good fun. If we can get that working, that is, on stage, so that'll be good. So come along. Right, so we're running out of time, so I think the next hashtag should be Grant's Hair.
Again, no
hashtag Grant's Hair. No apostrophe required.
So it's grant,
So it's plural.
Grant share.
Yeah, Grant Share. It's the new app.
Look, money well spent on the stands at the game shows.
Excellent.
You'll be pleased to hear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really important to get it right as well because you want to do PlayStation VR justice, not just Battlezone.
Yeah.
Because of PlayStation trusting us, allowing us to go there, doing our own things. You've got to make sure all our staff are trained up and knowledgeable about how to demo. The great thing is for most people it's their first time playing VR. It's quite easy for us to forget in the studio that most people haven't tried it yet. So.
One of the things I really loved about E3 2016 was that, with maybe one or two exceptions, everybody that came in to play the demo there had tried VR before. So I sort of lost that like the VR experience card that I had from them the first time I was demoing it, where it was like, well, VR is just fundamentally cool. And so having people coming in who were familiar with VR and still walking out saying that Battlezone was awesome was like that was great. That was really good validation. And that was where I started to feel really confident about what we delivered. I think.
That's why this right now is so exciting, because we've been very keen to show off the full extent of the game, the overall campaign, and that this is a full solid game.
Yeah, the number of "are you having co-op" questions we've had to dodge for a year.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure we made it shouted nice and loud just before launch.
Tim's
We're
driving
all
into
mesmerised
a
by
hole.
Tim.
Yeah.
He's got himself stuck in a corner.
I'm good.
Do we have time for any more Grant's hairs, Rob? Or are we closing it off?
10 seconds.
10 seconds to get a hashtag Grant's hair in, everyone.
What can you tell us about the different tank enemy AI? Does the difficulty scale as the campaign progresses? Yes. What can I tell you about that? Well, quite a lot really. As you go across the campaign that's generated when you first start, there are a bunch of different enemy types, ranging from relatively simple light tanks of the sort that you saw in the first mission, up to these much tougher heavy tanks with a much more powerful gun, and then a bunch of kind of special things like mine layers. I don't know if you've seen any of those yet.
I don't think we have.
No, I don't think so.
Snipers and all sorts of different enemy types with like radically different behaviours, all of which like throw up individually different challenges. But then when you meet them in groups, sort of performing as a sort of like an armoured group with different abilities, that challenge goes up substantially. Then each enemy type has got a rank ranging from 1 to 5, so 1 being like the default level and 5 being tougher. And then the distribution of those ranks is based on the enemy power thing that I was talking about earlier on. So the more levels you complete, the more this enemy power goes up, and the mixture of different ranks of tanks starts to increase. So in short, as you go through the campaign, the challenge presented by the enemies alone gets tougher. Plus, the missions get more complex, more difficult to complete. So by the time you've got to this sort of stage of the campaign and towards the end, you're facing a proposition that you need to be well prepared for.
How's it going, Tim?
All right, I'm just working my way down. I'm going to take out the shield generator before we say bye-bye to everyone.
Yeah, let's do it. That's like almost perfectly well timed. It's like we rehearsed it or something. This is crazy.
Where can we buy new T-shirts, Robbie?
Well, there's the Rebellion store. If you go to rebellion.co.uk, in fact, no, we've got rebellion.com these days. Yes. Fun fact, we now own rebellion.com. There's a game store there if you click on the link. We don't have any Battlezone t-shirts at the moment though, but we will try and get some done soon. I know they look very snazzy, although none of us are wearing one this evening, which is a little bit shameful. But we'll be wearing them at the events. I'm sure you'll spot us. Want to get the glow-in-the-dark one. I think I'd like that one on the store. That would be really good fun. Yeah.
Someone's asking about how smart the AI gets using obstacles to attack the player. The AI, well, it varies, depends on the enemy type. Things like the swarm move, they kind of flock all around the environment, so they kind of navigate around obstacles and so on. Enemies are broadly speaking.
No!
Don't worry.
I can't believe it.
It's all right. I'm on it.
Oh, you got to respawn. Okay,
Yeah, I gotta
all right.
respawn.
Sorry, Steve, interrupt you there. Just
Enemies being smart around obstacles and so on. Yeah, they'll generally try to position themselves so that they've got like a line of sight to you, and they'll work their way around obstacles to do that.
all right. Congratulations. Yes to the person who asked. Can you revive teammates? Yes, you can.
Yes.
Important.
Yes. One of the combat upgrades is the heal ability, which in single player you use to repair any allied structures, bases that you're supposed to be defending and stuff. In addition to that, in co-op, friendly players can get into that radius and heal up as well. And the higher the more you've invested in that upgrade, the better you get at healing. So what that gives us is this like sort of flexible class system, basically. If you want to be the team's healer, then instead of spending all your money upgrading your shields, say, or your active reload or whatever, you can put it into your heal system and be the dude that everyone else wants to keep alive to feed health into everyone.
Shall I drop into another mission, or are we stopping here?
I think we'll call it a day in a second, Tim. I think time to take the headset off.
Shame.
But we still need to give away one more copy of the game. So, do we do some shameless self-promotion?
Oh, before I take the
do we-
headset off, you might want other background imagery. Otherwise, you're just going to be like...
Good call.
Already done. Nice.
Nice, congratulations.
Oh, he's on that.
He is.
It's like some sort of superstar DJ.
Good old guy.
Yeah. Does your tank damage persist between hexes?
Yeah, if you guys can answer a couple of questions.
Yeah, I'll try and pick up a few before we go.
Before we finish off.
Tank damage persists between hexes missions. Not exactly, but there are occasions where you might bump into an event that causes damage that you have to carry into the next mission. If you're unlucky and you get an event where you've discovered a booby trap or something like that, one of our little narrative moments, then you can end up going into the next mission damaged, which is a problem. Steve eats paper.
Do you want me to...
Yeah, come
Interesting.
Tim, come sit awkwardly behind us somewhere.
Who's notorious DO1? Somebody who's rather brilliantly
That's
picked
just
up
Tim's name.
on the fact that today
Is this
I ate
Tim?
I ate a custard tart with its wrap around it.
Yeah, it's true.
Thinking for a moment, I thought it was rice paper.
Steve Bristow, tart eater.
Yeah, it was.
No, we haven't. Answer some questions.
Oh, okay. Well, I would do.
People ask some questions, in fact.
Oh yeah, I like that one. Hashtag I heart Battlezone.
Oh, okay. Let's do that. That sounds
Yeah.
good. Starting from here, I heart Battlezone. Make sure you're following, and make sure you're following the channel. Instructions coming in a second, and we'll pick out one. Well, the Rob's struggling under the pressure now.
It's a tough one to type,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Thank you for everyone for tuning in. We're obviously right slap bang in the middle of our sort of final push for launch, so thank you guys for all of your time helping us set this up. Rob behind there as well, and all our moderators for helping out. Right, let's see the I Heart Battlezones come in, and we'll give away a prize, and then we will sign off. Please do give us a follow if you haven't already. You can find us on Twitter at Rebellion or at Battlezone VR. Silly mistake when I named that account because the game is not called Battlezone VR, but still that's what everyone calls us now.
I still call it Battlezone.
Yes, I know. I think
just
everyone
for
does.
you, Robbie.
Obviously, if you go to battlezone.com, you'll find information on where you can try the game at events in your area. You should be able to sort of pre-orders as well in the next few weeks as and when they come. Yes, if you guys want to give your Twitter handles, if you're on Twitter, mine is cookie_vonster. That's with a V.
I am at Timmy1138.
I am at Stuka1919.
And I am at Darragaz with only one A.
Type those in for us, Rob.
All of them.
That would probably be a good idea.
Last one, everyone. And please do head to social media if you want to ask us any questions. We're probably going to be going home right now, but we'll try and get to them tomorrow as well, as will our community guys. Have we got a winner yet, Rob?
We do now.
We're pulling away. It's whiskey. Congratulations.
Short for Richard.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. If we haven't answered your questions today, we'll try and get to you on Twitter or Facebook if you follow us and like us there. Or thank you for tuning in. Hopefully, we'll see you for some kind of devs and players events around launch.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. See you all online.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, well done,
thanks,
Bobby.
There
Oh,
we
look
go.
at that. There we go.
Yeah.
Cheers, Bobby.
Like a well-oiled
Good work.
Bobby's better than Rob.
Yeah, it is. And Robbie. There's too many of us. Yeah, let's say goodbye now.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for coming. Bye.